Welcome to week number 7 of Turn Up Bear Down. The 3-3 Chicago Bears head to Tampa Bay to take on the defending champ Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are currently 4-2. This will be I guess this will be a little bit of a rivalry game after last year's fourth down where Tom Brady thought he had another down, but turns out he had lost the game. So we have, as always, Matt Jansen here with us. How are we doing on this wonderful fall night?
Feeling great, feeling great. Excited to be aboard. You know, Tampa Bay week. We did beat Brady last year, which I think surprised everybody. Um, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I am going into the Windy City this weekend for a wedding, so
I
might
like
be a windy afternoon in Tampa, if you know what I mean.
I like those odds. Anytime you're going to Chicago, that just bodes well for the team. So let's get into the matchup here. And initial reactions, I don't feel so good about this one. I thought the Bucks were a little bit overrated, honestly, but Brady is still getting it done. The man has thrown for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns in a game this year, and I'm just blown away by that kind of statistical game from someone who is, I forget, what is he, like 43 years old?
Yeah, I don't know, closer to 50. Yeah,
Yeah.
feels like.
Yeah, it's that avocado ice cream. That's what I keep
Yep.
hearing. And the diet that he has is just must be unreal. Maybe he's just like cloned himself from a few years ago, and he's sending out the clone to play. So, initial thoughts for you on this game?
Yeah, um, you know, uh, Tom is a number one passer, leading the NFL in passing yards.
Dang.
Tampa Bay is a number three offense. Um, they're also, on the defensive side, they're the number one rush defense. So, they have, by the numbers, this is an elite team. So, not only are we going to have to execute, but just, we're going to have a game plan that adjusts as the game progresses. And, something, one thing to, one thing to kind of note is just looking at the injuries. The Buccaneers have a lot of people hurt on that
Yeah, they
defense.
do. They do for sure.
Which I'm especially like, even like a Sherman that they just got. So I guess if they're ever vulnerable, it would be now. If our offense, is going to continue to gain the momentum that I feel like we've built over the last couple weeks. I mean, hopefully that facet alone will keep the game entertaining and keep it close. I personally think if we don't show up early, we're going to be chasing two scores for most of the second half.
Yeah,
So
for sure, for sure. And you said what the offense has done. I mean, all of a sudden, we really have become a pretty good ground attack. We've had a pretty good ground attack going. It'll be interesting to see if, with their highly ranked run defense, if we're able to continue running well. But sometimes that's a high ranked run defense or a high ranked pass defense is because the other one is not so good. And I don't think the Bucks pass defense has been that good this year. If I'm correct, I was looking at some fantasy rankings this week, and I had
yeah,
them as listed as the 26th worst pass defense, at least against quarterbacks or in fantasy world. So I guess that doesn't necessarily translate to uh,
mm,
overall team football, but
look at our skill positions, though. I mean, to
yeah,
just touch on that quickly, look at our skill positions compared to maybe some people that not their starters,
mm,
missing Levante David, Winfield at the safety position, a bunch of corners. I don't know.
yeah,
Feels like there is a chance that they could be vulnerable. We're also the seventh best rush offense in the NFL,
mm-hmm,
and on the other side, we're the seventh best rush defense.
yeah.
So we're just straight sevens.
Yeah, it's
So
gotta be good for
top 10 of
something.
both categories, which is also encouraging.
Yeah,
For a young nucleus, need to continue that this week. Keep Tom Brady off the field. I have offense needs 5 consistent, sustainable drives. To be
dang,
in a
that
position.
sounds
So
like so
it's an
much.
attainable number.
Sounds like a lot. All right,
Simple.
hey, let's get into it while you're talking about some of the things that you have. So, as far as what I'm seeing as keys to the game, I want to see more chunk plays from us. We previously talked I'm saying like 20 to 25-yard plays. I just feel like that doesn't really happen for this team this year, at least not enough. Can we win big turning points in the game? Last year, this game was 13-0 Bucks, and then Kyle Fuller made that huge hit turnover, and then we able to score 2 touchdowns before half and made it 14-13. Can we win a turning point like that again this week? I feel like we haven't really done that much and this season, and at least in the games we've lost, the turning point obviously is gone the other way. And this one sounds so bad, but can we score points, please? I feel like it's just so hard for us to score
You,
points.
you
And
will need to.
yeah,
You just really need to.
in an NFL where teams average always more than I think it's like 24 points a game is the average, and we always seem to hover lower than 24, like 14 maybe. If we get to a high, it's like 24. But for the Bucks, this offensive firepower really has exploded this year. Whether it's Godwin or Evans, Fournette, the list goes on and on. Gronk, and then Antonio Brown has really had a resurgence this year. If the Bucks protect the ball and don't turn it over, I really feel like it'll be tough for us because we thrive. I mean, I guess every team does thrive when you get turnovers, but especially us with a young rookie quarterback. And then lastly, will they be able to protect Brady? Because the Bears are number one in the NFL in sacks. So those are my keys to the game. Well, what do you think of those, or what else do you have going
Yeah,
forward?
like your stats. I also had that. Chicago's the only team with two players inside the top 10 in the NFL in sacks, and that's Robert Quinn and Khalil Mack. You said we're number one in sacks. That's great. We're gonna continue to. We need to continue to do that. And again, I told you earlier, the turnover differential. We're at +2. Tampa Bay is +3 on the season. We have to generate turnovers. We haven't really done it the last few games. And again, against Tom Brady, against a team like the Buccaneers, you're going to have to take advantage of some of their mistakes. You know, um, and honestly, they're a team that doesn't make a lot of mistakes. So
Right.
whenever they do, you damn better take care of it then. And so I also have things like what I agree with you. I liked our run game and plan of attack last week. Khalil Herbert balled out. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh
He
yeah.
played way better than I thought he was gonna play. But I also think I've got to give some credit to our line.
Yep.
Continue to let Mooney and Godwin stretch the field. I would like to see Khalil Herbert execute when given opportunities in the passing game. So those are some key points for me. Obviously, pressure Tom from the interior as well. He's going to get the ball out of his hand quick. Leonard Fournette's having a sneaky good year, and so he's an ox. I mean, he'll catch 6 passes a game.
Yep.
So again, I mean, they have weapons. They just have crazy weapons. So our defense has got its work cut out. But again, some turnovers and our offense sustaining long drives, I think, are the key for us.
For sure. There was one other thing you mentioned, and well, I guess you were talking about RO line, but I just was also had this vision in my head of Khalil Mack, and last year when this game happened, I really felt like Khalil Mack kind of revitalized himself, and
That's
it was the old Khalil Mack, and he was
pretty Scotty.
shoving Tristan Wirfs over and got that sack, and that's the last time Wirfs has given up a sack. So here we are a year later, and that was his last sack he'd been given up. But can Khalil Mack take over this game? And no more Kyle Fuller. So who else on the defense can make a couple plays? Because that secondary has really struggled at times this season. Uh, and as far as we were talking about the Bucks having some players out, my only concern with that is that's great for us. But last week the Packers were out their 2 starting cornerbacks, and it still felt like it was hard for us to get the ball down the field in the
Yeah.
air.
Sure.
But some of that is that they really are going with the run game. So it's hard to criticize the passing game too much when we really are just trying to run the ball well. And it did work.
Yeah. And just think of that receiving group. AB's got 400 yards. Chris Godwin's got 400 yards. Mike Evans has 400 yards.
Dang.
That's the only team in the NFL with 3 receivers, with over 400 yards up to this point through 6 weeks. And AB was out a week. So that receiving core, I think that's probably the best three in the league. I don't know. I don't know if I can think of a better three because Cup and Woods, I think you're missing a third there.
Yeah, I was thinking
So
about maybe the Bears. Oh, just kidding.
uh,
So
they would
while we're talking about players, we've already mentioned a few of them. For us, I like Fields, and it doesn't
JF.
even what
Hey, yeah, his name is JF1. Thank you,
JF1. Yeah.
JF1.
So I'm looking for big things from him this week. It's time, I feel like, for him to have a little bit of a breakout game. He played well against the Lions. He did a couple good things against the Raiders and then again the Packers. But I'm looking for a really solid game from him this week. Herbert, can he do what he did last week? Because I mean, honestly, if he can do that, and
Like,
Williams is still on
Likey
the
last
COVID
week.
list, yeah,
Tommy want wingy.
yeah. But with Williams still on the COVID list and obviously Montgomery out, can he continue to establish himself? And if that happens, not only do we have like two good backs, we have three pretty solid backs,
Yeah,
and that is
and
something special.
well, first off, I haven't heard an update on Tariq Cohen. That would be great to have him back,
Yeah,
even regardless of who the bell cow runner is going to be.
right.
He just needs another facet to our offense, especially with the running back group. He's pretty much a receiver. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
My last news on Cohen that I heard was he was still having a hard time like physically like stretching his knee out or something like that. So he suffered that torn ACL in week 3 against the Falcons last year, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah,
and still recovering from that. I don't think it's gone very well. But yeah, he would allow a lot more pop, a lot more speed because you always. I feel like we do lack a lot of speed. And then just to continue on with the players, Jalen Johnson for us, can he make some plays? Because you've already mentioned why he's going to be important in this game. The loaded receivers that the Bucks have, that does make me concerned. Even with Jalen Johnson, like we don't have two or three other guys that can match up with uh,
no,
these mismatches. So that being said, I think Brady obviously is a key player in this, and he's gonna remember like that he lost this game and got embarrassed by the Bears last year on national television. So
yeah.
he's probably
He
gonna come out. Yeah,
You see that? He was echoing what Roger said.
yeah, I did. He said I
So
loved what he said. He's kind of an owner of the Bears
yes,
since the Packers are publicly owned. And then Fournette again, like this guy, he was solid, and I forget what all happened in Jacksonville, but like this is still a young, solid running back who, I mean, now he's won a Super Bowl and he's playing on a solid offense, a lot to do. And then Antonio Brown, this similar situation, like bad deal in Pittsburgh, causes stink the whole Raiders situation, but all that's looking like it's behind him. Even the Patriots situation that came out after that, and this guy looks like the Antonio Brown that I remember making amazing plays for
Hall of
the
Famer Antonio
Steelers.
Brown. Hall of
Yeah.
Famer Antonio Brown.
So
Yep.
I mean, if you match up these three guys for the Bucks versus our three guys, you would probably say advantage easily Bucks, and I think that's kind of the game we're looking at too. So, what do you think about these players? Are there any other guys that you think we need to mention? I already talked about Mac a little bit, and we talked about Quinn as well.
Yeah, who will be at tight end? They're gonna. I don't know if OJ Howard's gonna be able to be available. Cameron Braid, is he someone who they run out there at tight end? Um, and I also have, I have Byron Leftwich versus Sean Desai, offensive coordinator versus defensive coordinator. Because I think that's important. You're going. Sean Desai is a new coach. You have a new system.
Mm-hmm.
It's branching off. The Fangio tree. Like established offenses like this. This is like it's like putting a 30-point buck on your mantle right here.
Yeah,
Tom Brady, stopping Tom Brady. You
yeah,
know,
that's an
uh,
interesting mention there. Sorry, I'm stopping you, but if let's say Nagy isn't the coach next year, Leftwich, maybe not a bad guy to consider with the
sure.
offense they've got, and we want to be more offensive minded team. So continue with what uh, you were talking about with players.
Yeah. And then again, Bucks D line. I think Barrett and JPP combined to have a lot of sacks. That defensive line had a lot of sacks last year.
Yeah.
So what's that D line going to do to disrupt Justin Fields? If they speed Justin up at all, obviously that's going to hurt him and through his progressions. For the Bears, I have on that D line, on our D line, people other than Akeem Hicks and Khalil Mack, time to step up, especially with Quinn out. Or some people I'd like to see get after Tom Brady, Blau Nichols, Blackson.
Well, hold on. Update on Nichols. He did not practice today. They said something
Great.
about his knee, I think. And then I don't remember. I know that Hicks came out. It looked like it was his groin. Is he gonna be a go? I haven't heard it.
I don't know. It's looking unlikely.
Yeah. Okay. Bummer.
I would assume.
Yeah. We need a fact checker on that. But anyway, who else we got?
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll just have to wait to Sunday. He's probably going to be game time.
Yeah,
I mean, he's probably getting his
true.
rest, but I'm sure he wants to be out there. You know how he is. He love
Yeah.
Again, players get the sack Tom Brady. That's bucket list stuff for players. So you
sure.
get up. If you can play, you play in these games.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right. Well, I got a prediction. I know you got a prediction as well. My prediction, not so favorable to the Bears. I got the Bucks 28-17. Again, I just feel like with last week against Rodgers, this week at the Bucks against Brady, Brady won a little bit of revenge for what happened last year. I don't feel like we can win this one quite yet. I haven't seen enough from our offense. I mean, at the end of the day, like you and I watched every game, and we know just as I guess we're up there with the experts, but we can tell hey, this is potentially a win or potentially a loss, and I don't have a good feeling about this one. I just don't see us winning it. So,
Yeah, remember this was the part of the season that you and I talked about going.
Yeah,
We win a lot of games before this or after this because and even San Francisco next week, I think, and then I think we have Pittsburgh coming up as well.
Yep.
So I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's schedule's not getting any easier. Even were we a third place team last year or second place team?
We were second place team. A playoff team.
Playoffs, yeah.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon Bowl and the Nickelodeon Bowl.
The slime time.
28-20 Tampa Bay. The score could very easily be 55-20. I'm going 28-20 Tampa Bay. Again, I'm not worried about wins or losses in this season. Like I told you guys, all of our thousands and millions of viewers and subscribers out there. It's just about watching the growth and the process and taking away the little things, the little wins, as our rookie quarterback figures out how to be a pro and I think hopefully a good pro.
Yeah.
Leader of a franchise.
Yeah, and I think last week, well, since Fields started, okay, we had the Browns game, which was just brutal, but other than that, it's felt like there's been a lot more hope and I think this guy could potentially hit Mooney deep or lead a drive here. Down 17-7 against the Packers in the fourth quarter. He could potentially leave a drive here, and all of a sudden it's a 3-point game. And if the defense can get a stop against Rodgers, who knows? But it does make it more fun. Obviously, he's going to continue to improve. There's a lot that we're not in on. We don't go through the process. We're not coaches. We don't see what he's learning and picking up in practice and film sessions and whatnot. But
couple plays last week, like I said, that play that we could have. I think it was Robinson wide open down the field, easy touchdown. Like I said, just going through the progressions. I don't know how easy or hard Matt Nagy's offense is. I wouldn't imagine it'd be hard to understand, quite frankly. But
I think it's brutal.
I think Fields has shown you glimpses of being special, being able to make pretty much every throw, make throws deep. His deep ball does have a lot of accuracy, and he can obviously run. He's dynamic. So he checks a lot of boxes, and that I think as a Bears fan, makes you excited, and it's something we're not used to, and so just like I said, trust the process, fans, and let's enjoy Justin getting to play play against Tom, get that experience, and then also probably make a connection, hopefully, and gain, development from that as well. So
Yeah. All right. Well,
you can't beat him, be his friend, right, Scotty?
what?
If you can't beat him, be his friend, right?
Be his friend. Yeah. Okay. Deal. So it'll be fun. We'll definitely be watching. I don't know why, but CBS is sending their number one crew to this game. They really like the Bears. They
Is
really
it Greg Olsen again?
no CBS. So we got Jim Nance and Tony
Oh,
Romo.
we got Romo. Yeah,
Basically
Romo.
America's game of the week for CBS. I think the reason why would be because one, it's Tom Brady, and two, you got the Chicago is a big market, so why not have those two work together to get high ratings? But hey, hopefully it's a fun one, not one they're like, hey, we're gonna turn away from this game because it's a blowout. So I actually this is a little bit of a throwback slash trivia. I remember a game when I was, gosh, I'm gonna spend like second grade or so. The Bears were playing the Bucks, and some reason it was on live television, and they went away from it. We were down 41-0, and they went away from it. Mike Allstott had like 2 or 3 touchdowns, and so they started showing another game, and I was like, "What the heck? I want to watch the Bears game," and they're just like, "Nah, we're going to a different game because this is terrible." So, any,
I used to love the Bucks, man. The
oh, yeah.
Bucks were kind of my team growing up.
Oh no.
Borg Dunn, I like Mike Allstott.
Yeah. Hey, we also did not mention this is an old Bears rivalry game because the Bears and the Bucks were in the Central together for until 2002 when they realigned the divisions. So.
They had a nasty defense. Remember Warren Sapp? I mean that
Oh
when they
yeah.
were smashing Green Bay when we weren't capable of doing that, it was just it was good times.
Yeah. They had a Sap. They had Simeon Rice,
So, yeah,
Derek Brooks.
Derek Brooks, John Lynch,
Yeah, I
uh,
mean they won
Rondé
this. They did win
Barber.
the Super Bowl. Like, let's not. Yeah, that was like a Tony
Uh,
Dungy team. So, all right, well, that'll do it for this week of Turn Up Bear Down. Thank you for stopping by. You got anything else to say?
I don't, baby. Bear down. Let's
Bear,
get it.
bear
Justin's gonna make a few special throws this week. I'm excited.
yeah.
Let's get it. Bear down.
Tony Romo's going to be calling plays left and right. Bear down.